Welcome to the Tiffany Wade Show on Enlighten TV. I am so delighted to have two special guests on the show. I'm just so excited to have Mr. Kevin, Miss Glenda. They're on the show. They're going to be talking to you all about their marriage ministry. I'm just excited to have them on here to talk about that because I know it's a lot of people like myself that are single, looking to get married one day, that's looking for the greatest advice that they can get, especially from two married people that's been in the ministry for a while, and they're going to give you some good advice. So we're going to go ahead and let Miss Glenda and Mr. Kevin have the floor. So go ahead, Miss Glenda, and introduce yourself to everybody.
Okay, my name is Glenda Rutlege. I'm an educator with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, 24 years. I'm an author, I'm a motivational speaker, and I love what I do. And I'm married to this wonderful gentleman here, Kevin Rutlege. He's my better half, my partner, my sidekick, my everything. And I like to say that we call ourselves the seasoned senior couple that's married. So that's that. And then Kevin?
Awesome.
Well, my name is Kevin Rutledge, and I have been in the teaching profession for over 40 years. This is my 41st year, and I am a practicing musician. I'm a minister of music at my church, and I've been doing that. Oh gosh, maybe 50 years. 50
Oh,
years.
Mhm.
So I love, you know, what I do with, just enhancing the lives of people. God sent me my queen, and I was so blessed that she thinks similar to me, and but different enough to still remain unique, and that's important.
oh yeah, definitely. So
Mhm.
how long have you two been married?
Oh, well, it will be a year on November 18th.
Oh wow, that is amazing. Awesome,
Yep.
Yeah.
awesome. That is so what is it like finding love again at the age that you both are?
Oh my gosh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Go ahead, babe.
Well, let me tell you, God is just amazing because my previous situation was not very great. And I remember when my feelings for Glinda began to become more evident. And I had to question myself as to whether or not I wanted to go down the marriage road again. And that's when my mind just went back to scripture with the children of Israel. They were in Egypt under Pharaoh. They had to make their sojourn, get to Canaan. But some of the greatest growth came in the sojourn. It was the traveling, and the reward was Canaan. Canaan. So I looked at my situation as Glenda being my Canaan, and to me that was it. And hoping that she would agree to become my wife, um, and grow to understand you know, m- my way as I grow to understand her way,
Yeah.
which
So
is really important.
yeah, that's very important. So
Mhm.
what about you, Miss Glenda?
Um, it's just, it's like a love story on Tiffany. It's
Yeah.
like I recently found out because we both work for the district with our schools and we're just like two doors down from each other. So we're on the same floor, but we have different responsibilities in terms of our jobs and stuff like that. And I recently found out that he attended a workshop in 2018 that I was conducting at a university.
Oh
And so,
wow.
so just think about that now, 2018. And so I was like, because he kept telling me, Glenda, I was in a workshop that you taught. And I was like, I don't know. So I just happened to be scrolling through my phone and looking at pictures. And I saw him at the workshop that I conducted. So it was just like God ordained, it was in God's divine will. And so prior to meeting Kevin, you know how you go through relationships and friendships and so things like that, and things didn't work out. And so, you may think it's the one and so forth and so on like that. But I was very busy in ministry. I am a minister, very busy in ministry, just doing things, just working, teaching, um, conducting workshops, and all of the stuff that goes along with being a servant leader in ministry. And so I really believe that, I believe in waiting on God until that person came, right? And so somehow, well, we actually attend a lot of conferences. So I asked if I could write with him up to a conference, and he said yes.
Well,
And
no, let's go well before that.
oh, well,
Before
before
that,
that, go ahead, babe.
we were coupled by our supervisor
Yes.
Wow.
to create content
Mm-hmm.
for a course that was going to be offered throughout a conference.
Mm-hmm.
And we had agreed, I don't know did we meet on a Sunday at first? I don't
I think
after
we met on
church.
a Sunday at a restaurant.
Yeah, at the restaurant. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, as we began to map out where we might be going with this particular course, um, I think we were we were focused on the course for maybe a couple of hours, and then we began to maybe inquire about, our personal lives. And it started with elementary school. And it was, uh, I just happen to share that I grew up, I attended Lily C. Evans Elementary School. And Glenda said, so, so did I. Wait a minute now. I lived on so and so street. And she said, well, I lived on so and so. Wait a minute.
Close. What's
But it's like,
Wow.
hold it, come on back. And as we
church?
continue to um, you find out more about one another, I talked about the church that I attended. And she said, I attended that church too.
Wow.
And that was a what you talking about, Willis moment.
Yeah. It's like y'all kept missing each other,
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it came together.
it
It came
came
together.
together at the
Yeah.
Wow.
right time.
At the
So
right
yeah,
time.
then we began to share our experiences. And Glenda said something, I think, at the conclusion of one of our sessions. She said, we have a lot to talk about because we have more in common than you might think. And when we began, as the subsequent meetings took place, boy, did we find out, yeah, that
A
we
lot.
did have, more in common. And we were seeking, the similar, you know, uh, I should say, path to happiness with the couple.
Mhm.
So yeah, that set the foundation, and then it went from there. Now you can talk about the trip to the conference in Orlando.
Okay, so after all of that, right? Then but I have to go back a little bit because during the time that we were paired together and we did all this work, I got deployed. I was out of the
Right
job.
where we were supposed to co-facilitate.
We were co-facilitating, and then that
Right.
on the very first day that we were teaching, I was informed that I was being deployed to school. And I thought it was going to be for like a week or two, but no, it was indefinitely. So I was gone from January all the way through June of
Wow.
2023. So when I did come back into the class, came back to the office, we had this conference to go to in June. So we went to the conference and I asked if I could ride with him, and he said yes. And we thought that, we're going to listen to music. We talked the whole way. We got to Orlando so fast, Tiffany. It was
Wow.
like, wow. We took all of our courses together and we had a lot of quality time where we with other coworkers, but we had an opportunity to really talk about things. And so basically, we had this conversation. Uh, maybe 2 hours or so, and it went great, and we talked about commitment and so forth and so on like that, and that was fantastic, and he agreed, I agreed, and we just had it was a wonderful trip, even with the courses and everything that we were actually taking at this conference. And on the way coming back home, he said, we were having a conversation. I said, oh, wasn't it a great trip, Kevin? He said yes. And then he says, so Glenda, as he's driving, how does December sound? I said, well, what's happening in December? And then that's when he turned to me and said, will you marry me?
Oh, I was just gonna ask how long that was literally my next question. Like, how long did it take for you, Mr. Kevin, to know that she was the one?
Well, again, I go back to God leading me to the story of the children of Israel and their sojourn from Egypt to Canaan. And I kind of felt, what, your Canaan is right before you. Now you can either choose to go into the land, or you can continue to go beyond 40 years
Mhm.
and continue to wander.
Wow.
And I looked at so many things. Glenda and I are at a similar intellectual level. We're compatible with our academic achievements. Um, we both have our graduate degrees. I believe that we're both effective educators, effective communicators. Um, Glenda's ministry is more in the word ministry. Mine is music ministry. And I looked at so many compatibilities. Um, with that being said, we also saw that we were financially compatible.
Mhm.
Um, my wife realizing that, okay, I'm marrying this guy, you know, I have to avail my finances to him and he to me. Um, but it worked out. What I think maybe I'm just proud of is that, I do make more. I bring in more into the home, but she honors me as the leader of the home. But let me tell you, but my wife makes money. So if she makes money and I make more than that, we're doing real good.
Oh yeah. Oh
We're
yeah.
doing real good. In fact, we were pretty good separately, and since we've combined, we're even better. So
That's
I remember Linda saying, I've never been with a man that was a planner and who had a way of articulating the plan for our future.
that's
And but me, I've always been a leader in that area, and just finding a wife that would just understand and honor me as I honor her. I've been married a couple of times. No, I've had other wives, but this is my first marriage, and I
awesome.
hope you catch what I just said.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is awesome. So Miss Glenda, how did you know yourself? Okay, he asked me to marry him. I know for a fact that I want to marry this man. How did you know?
Well, first of all, I went into prayer, and I was with my pastors, and I prayed, they prayed, and everything just fell into place. I mean, it's like, remember, we went to the conference in June. He asked me to marry him in June. So, I mean, he asked me to marry him in June, and then we got married in November. So within a 6 month span, we
Wow.
basically
5
had to
months.
combine houses, break down this, move this, close this, do this, and do that. But because we are aligned in our principles and as it relates to ministry, as it relates to education and so forth and so on like that, and he is a planner and very strategic, and everything, like when I say it fell into place, it just fell into place. Even when it came down to getting my wedding dress, I had several dresses that I had purchased, and I was like, I didn't like them. At the last minute, somebody said, go back to David's Bridal, this, and that. And when I went back, I found the dress that I really fell in love with, and was such a blessing that it was unbelievable. So with that, and just how things just worked out, we communicated. And let me tell you, one big thing that we did, we had open communication a lot. We talked a lot. Sometimes we would go to a restaurant at 12 noon. And this is how we would not come out of the restaurant until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and still would stand in the parking lot talking.
Wow.
So we
Talking.
spent hours together
Wow.
just talking. We'll talk a little bit about work, talk a little bit about ourselves, talk a little bit about the future. So with that in place, it just really through prayer and just waiting on God and just knowing. And then we did it God's way. And I hope you get my drift when I say that, that
Oh,
we
yeah.
did it His way. We, there was no mess, that type of thing. We decided to save ourselves until marriage, and we did it His way. And when you do it that way, I believe God honors it. You understand what I'm saying? And so that was something that basically He may not have done in the past, but we decided
Never.
together.
Never.
And that's why you said it's your first marriage.
Right,
That's
right.
right.
So we
Yeah.
decided to,
Hmm.
come together that way and do it God's way. And I know some of your listening audience may think, I don't think I can do that. No, you can.
You
You
can.
just when you are intentional and when you're busy and when you
Right.
believe God that, God, I trust you. I'm in right alignment with you. I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do. Then God will open that pathway or open up that door of opportunity for you to meet someone that you desire. So,
Right.
And I also believe that at this stage in our young life, in our young lives, I should say, um, something that was super important in my 20s is not as important in my 60s.
Right.
When I looked at the physicality part of a relationship as being the driving force, I noticed that I didn't have the other allegiance part that really was the sustaining force. So we decided, let's do it right,
mhm,
and let's really focus on what marriage is all about.
mhm,
Right.
Now that means that even as we came together, we continue to learn each other, and we still to this day
mhm.
continue to learn each other's the idiosyncrasies, the uniquenesses, you know, um, what may upset one, what may not upset the other, it's a learning process.
Right.
And I embrace the opportunity for learning because we as educators, we are always promoting continuous learning,
Yeah.
continuous education. Well, also as our marriage continues to evolve and grow, we want it to be a situation where we are continuously learning and continuously, because once we learn it all, you're either in a casket or an urn. And yeah, the party's over because as long as we are breathing and on this side of uh, action, it means that we should always be learning. And
Yeah.
so we kind of embrace that intentionality, always learn.
And that is so true. Continuous learning is good for the educational business side, but it's so important for the relationship side. I love how you broke that down and said every day you should be learning something new about your spouse or
Mhm.
if you're dating somebody, because like you said, we're breathing, we're living, and even you learn the longer you live, the more you're gonna learn about your own self.
Oh
So you
yeah,
can
Absolutely.
learn more about your spouse, and or if
Mhm,
you're dating somebody, you can take the time to get to know them and to learn them and learn
hmm,
something new about them all the time. And I love the fact too, Miss Glenda, how you said y'all would go to lunch and at 12 and be in there till about 8 or 9 o'clock talking. Communication is a very key component of a relationship. And a lot of relationships fail because people don't know how to communicate. And I
right.
feel like that's the biggest issue with my
Mhm,
generation. You know, we don't know how to communicate. It's always the alpha male or the alpha female or the beta male. And it's like, okay, can we just come together and
mhm,
talk, and get the chance to know each other and to see what each other like, what we may want 5 years
right,
from now or what we may want right now,
right.
if those things align up instead of trying to compete and tear each other down and pull each other apart. And I feel like with my generation, that's one of the main issues is having that line of communication open,
yes.
taking the time to like really actually know how to communicate,
Mhm,
Yeah,
because I know from my own experience, a lot of men they may not know how to be like open emotionally or communicate
Mhm.
the way they should be,
Mhm.
especially men my age. I don't know if it's fear or insecurities, but I know a lot of young men struggle with that. So can you kind of like, and even I wanted to ask you too, on top of that, the emotional, struggles that men, especially Black men, have, and also how that could possibly tie into how long it takes for a man to know that this woman is gonna be my wife versus stringing her along. Because I see that a lot
Oh, yeah.
in the generation. So can you kind of talk about that a little bit, Mr.
Well,
Kevin?
well, I mean, when we look at, okay, because men could be strung along as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think identifying what the important factors in a relationship are. You have to identify those factors and then insist on abiding by them. Um, when it's he's good looking, she's fine, whatever terms we might use to describe people, and then you get together and you're like, okay, well, he's put on a little more weight. Well, maybe he's not. Remember, he's not like you met him, or she's not like you met her. But if the relationship is built on a strong foundation, you'll find that the principle of union really supersedes all of the other things. Now, you alluded to young people, especially young men, not being reluctant in opening up and sharing their feelings and sharing their truth. Well, that older men go through that as well. And with me, I'm not an arguer. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. Um, but you'll find what for me, I shut down when I find that my partner does not appreciate me, not what I can do for them, because really we're in a shape where we could buy stuff every day, but we have enough stuff. We have stuff. It's all this stuff. You can mix and match. We got enough to mix and match, and no one would even know that we wore the same thing. Why are we just buying stuff?
Mm-hmm.
How many watches can you have? How many rings can you have? How many shoes can you have? How many? And you know what? Oh, women in shoes. But then you know what? Practical women. So we shared. Listen, we need to travel.
Mhm.
Now, why is that so important? Because I'm minister of music. So most of my Sundays, I'm at church. And I mean, I remember there was a point where for 9 years, I never missed a service because that was my calling. The ministry needed me. Um, but now I have a wife that we shared. We talked about destinations, and Glenda would say, "Oh, I've never been there," and then she'll bring up a destination, and I'll say, "I've never been there." We we're at a point in our lives where that's something that we can really fulfill. Glenda's retiring after this school term. I'll go another 3 years, but we can work out, traveling. Now, talk about men opening up. When we were getting to the point where I knew we were getting serious, I think just before the trip, I remember Glenda is one of those that you'll come home and she'll have something on the bed that she purchased for you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's not me. I don't do that. I remember I said, before we get too deep, you're marrying a man who who may have been married to his work, married to his art and his profession. But I'm not that flowery guy, that guy that, you know, I need help. And I said, like, I might think of a trip, but it's better for you to make it happen. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's gonna say, well, I need to let this guy go. And Glenda was like, oh, you ain't saying nothing. I got this. Oh, she got. What's our budget? If you tell me how much you take out of the budget, I got this.
Yeah.
So, understanding that as a man, for me, one who is always dedicated to his work, bringing me out of my shell.
And,
Glenda has helped me. That, yeah.
and so you were open enough to tell her that
Just be
okay,
honest, transparent. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. And I feel
very
like
transparent, very
and
transparent.
that's a good thing because I feel like sometimes, and this can be male and females, because I've seen this
Mhm.
on both ends. Because some women are not emotionally available; they don't know how to communicate. I've seen it
Mhm.
for both, but the fact that you were transparent about that, it made it kind of easier for her because she doesn't have to kind of read your mind and try to figure out okay, well, what does he mean if he does this, you know? And I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of people in my generation, we kind of have to, it's like, okay, well, what are they trying to say? Or what are they trying to,
Right.
and it's like, okay, we shouldn't have to do that. Just come out and be honest and tell people, hey, I may not be good in this area.
Mhm.
If you want to take over doing this part, you know, that might be better for you to do. I feel
Mhm.
like that makes things work and flow much easier versus
Yes.
someone having to guess.
And understanding your partner. Um, I said, you surprise me, often, but I'm trying to get there. I mean, so I remember I felt guilty, and because I would come in and Glenda has bought this for me, and she said, I don't do things like that for you to do it for me. I did it because I did it from my heart,
Yeah.
and so when I look at things, I said, look, I'm a working man. I pay the bills. You save the money for us. So you pay the bills, you save the money. We do things when we do corporate events, or you and I will take it out of that pot. When we want to do for one another, do it out of our personal, uh, reserve. And that keeps us building. It keeps us, I think, focused. I may have to change headphones. Huh?
Mhm.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, can
Mhm.
hear you good, loud and clear.
Okay. Um, I found that that was one of the areas that I was concerned about. Me, because when I met Glenda, I was pretty much a broken guy. So disappointed by my last situation until trusting, again, was initially a challenge. Now trusting Glenda, trusting the process,
Right.
trusting the process, and availing my emotions, availing my, myself. And I'm sure she felt probably the same because, in her last relationship, um, because remember, we have a past. So why did we leave those particular relationships? There was something. And we plan to be together until, like scripture says, until death do us part. So, what must we continuously do? Continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to honor. Um, uh, Glenda has been getting up early to exercise, and I thought it was so cute. Maybe the other day, Glenda was at work. I was going into the field, and she said, "I want to apologize." And I'm thinking, what you talking about, Willis? Apologizing for what? She said, I was not able to make breakfast for you this morning because, I exercised and I did wind down and then I took a shower and I got ready for work. And I thought, wow, because that was not an agreement that you have to prepare breakfast for me or you have to do this. But my wife made the decision. Now, listen, I'm happy. I'm not mad, but I want her to know that that's not my expectation. Every morning that my now if you want to do it, yes, and you'll hear people say, "Well, don't start nothing. You can't stop." But at least she's being transparent, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And remember, both of us lived alone before we met each other, So I know how to prepare breakfast. I know to survive. But her thing is no. I'm your wife. Um, that's for me to do, even with dinner. Because when we began to combine our households, when I went to her place, I was like, "Your stove looks new." She said, "It is." I said, "Wait a minute, what?" She said, "I don't cook." Uh-huh. So I'm thinking, wait a minute now. But you know what? When we got together, Glenda said, "I don't cook because I was by myself, but now I have a husband and I do cook. And oh Lord, can she cook?" Because I said to her, I said, "You lied to me." And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You said you couldn't cook." I said, "No." She said, "No, I didn't." I said, "I didn't cook. I didn't say I couldn't cook." And oh my gosh, oh my gosh,
Surprised you, huh?
surprised me in a good way.
And you know what, Tiffany? I
Uh,
love cooking for my husband. I
good.
do. I
That's
And
so
do.
we
good.
many times we're in there together doing things.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
awesome. I love
Yeah,
to see it. I love to see
yeah.
it. So, Miss Glenda, any
Mhm.
advice to young women that's waiting patiently? Like, did you have like a list? What did you do to prepare yourself to be
I did not have a list. No,
a
I just, like I said, the minister, I was busy with work. I teach classes in the evenings, and I just believe God. I mean, through, failed relationships, failed marriages. It's like, okay, God, when is, one, you'll meet people and you think, okay, well, maybe this is the person and know something will happen, and the next person and something will happen. And I just decided, you know what, let me just wait. And so that's what I did. I waited, and little did I know that Kevin was always there. It just
Oh,
took the right, what will you call it? Eh,
The right season.
the right season. So
That's
it
right.
was my 2023 was a year of just great accomplishments for myself and for my husband. So 2023, and I remember just praying and just believing God and sowing seed and doing those things that I knew to do, that I knew that God would honor. And the word of God says that he would give you the desires of your heart. And that's
yeah.
exactly what he did. He gave me my desire above and beyond anything that I could ever expect. And so with that, that's how I knew. So for young people, we're senior citizens. We call ourselves the senior
But
season
y'all
club.
don't look like it.
I
Y'all
know,
look
Right.
good.
girl. I know. And
We hear
so
it a lot. We hear it a lot.
yeah,
They say black don't crack
Don't
unless
cry.
yes, yes. So
And brown don't drown. Okay.
no, I hadn't heard of that one. The brown don't
Me
drown.
either. This is just a new euphemism. Yeah, I just created it. Sorry.
So I would say be prayerful, stay busy, be in alignment. Um, just and then no man is an island. Don't go out looking because the word of God says, "He who findeth a wife findeth a good thing," and Kevin found me. And so I would just say, just be, do the right thing, just be in alignment and just wait and, go before God and just have just a regular conversation with God. This is an area that I struggle in. This is an area that, I want to improve in, but being intentional and knowing that, if you trust God, that he will give you the desires of your heart. And that's exactly what he did. Because 2023 was phenomenal for me. Absolutely phenomenal. I did, I published a book. I had a Teen Moms Empowerment Summit. I met my soulmate. We got married, or even our job had a wedding shower for us. It was just, when I say that it was all laid out, it
Yeah.
was just all laid out. And so we're so grateful and thankful to be able to share our story with other young people, and even for those who are seniors that are interested and, or desiring to have a mate. Stay prayerful. Be connected with people that are like-minded, that are having, positive conversations and things like that. Not like, because it's difficult sometimes when, you could be married and then you can be hanging out with single folk, and then, the conversation swings to the left, swings to the right, or something totally different, hanging out, you can't be going to places that are, they should be going to acceptable places, but we always surrounded ourselves. And I'm not really with a lot, my circle is very small. But when we did go out, basically we were with each other, but then we always communicated with a small group of people that were like-minded individuals that basically were, doing things that we were doing. And we kept ourselves busy. Like he's a minister of music, so it was always community activities and things like that, just things that are going on. So that's what I would say. We have this mantra that he and I came up with one night. We were standing out in front of the apartment and said, the sum total of our experiences have brought us to our now. The sum total of our experiences have brought us to our now. So when we look at everything that we've gone through, individually, collectively, we know that the sum total of everything that we've gone through brought us to our now, brought us to become a union of one, being in right alignment as Mr. and Mrs. Kevin Rutledge.
I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really great advice. And
Mm-hmm.
the fact that y'all's experiences brought y'all to where you are now and all that
Mm-hmm.
you've learned through your past mistakes, it's helped y'all grow even together as husband and wife. And the fact that y'all can get on the show tonight and talk about that and give people good advice is awesome because a lot of us we really need it, especially those that are waiting to get married. And I love how you said the Bible's in it. It says it in the Bible. He who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Good thing. Mm-hmm.
Ladies, and I'm gonna tell y'all this, ladies, don't go out there looking. Don't do it. Please
He-
don't. Look
he's
desperate.
already there. He's already there, like
Yes.
2018. Another
Yeah.
thing too that I
And a
wanted to
lot of
say.
times, I was gonna say that too. A lot of times, the
Yeah.
man that you think you're looking for, he's
Mhm.
right there anyway.
Right.
Right.
And you've
And
crossed paths, several times.
mhm.
And yeah, you're so right. Uh, Glenda would come down to my office to speak to one of my colleagues. And I remember seeing her and she acted like she wasn't looking over to the left, to the
He
left.
was looking.
But the more I saw her, the more we began to do things together. Um, and I think I guess as she spoke my name, she was like, babe, so everybody knows you. But
Uh-huh.
what my wife has also realized, I've been in the field visiting schools this week, but so many people know my wife and they're excited about my referencing her. Oh my gosh, you mean Glenda Moten? Well, now Glenda Rutledge. But oh, I remember her. She told you know what? She wrote a book. Oh, I said, thanks for telling me. I didn't know. Of course, I knew it, but they felt like they were giving me, headline news. But
Yeah.
I'm so honored that we're a couple that the community looks to with respect.
Mhm.
Both of us bring a certain amount of respect from the community to our youth. We don't drink, we smoke, we don't hang around that. We're not partiers, as they say. But I think we're very busy. It's because we don't do that. We do a lot of things, and I remember before Glenn and I met. Sometimes she said, "You know what? I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning or 3 o'clock this morning." I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Do you know that sleep deprivation is a killer?" So once we got married, like, no, you got to go to bed.
Yeah.
You got to, because that's how you renew, restore, and recalibrate.
Mhm.
And so when she would always come to my place, I know she got very, very comfortable, and I was very glad to see that. So that means that my wife felt safe,
Mhm.
and yeah, that made me feel really, really great. I knew that, yeah, this was the right choice.
That's
Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Also,
God.
too, thank you for that, sweetheart. Also, too, Tiffany, I wanted to say to you, say this to your listening audience. One thing that I constantly do every day, like literally, and it's a text or a phone call or emoji or whatever, I pour into my husband.
Yes.
I pour into him
Mhm.
every day
And during Sunday service,
and during Sunday services.
after a song, oh, babe, that was so. Oh my gosh, the ministry. Yeah. So I've never had that. This is totally new, and I embrace it, and I appreciate it, and I thank you, sweetheart,
That is
Well,
so awesome. I
for your
love
continuous support.
that is so awesome. The fact that you pour into him and then he pours back into you and y'all
Mm.
come together to do God's ministry. And now you're giving your testimony of how y'all met. And I just love the fact like y'all been around each other. Y'all literally grew up
Right?
in the same areas. Like y'all
Mhm.
just literally, it's like I can see it in my head. Like you're
Mhm,
around the corner and she's up the street, but it's like
mhm.
y'all keep going around each other, but
Right.
eventually y'all come together to meet. And
Yeah,
and that just is it's amazing because a lot of times in life, that's how it can be. And that goes to show you what God has for you will come together. You cannot,
yeah,
Right.
I don't care what it is, you can't even stop the destiny that God has for
Come
you.
on
It's
now.
meant for you
That's right.
guys to come together. And so when
yeah,
Yes.
you put something together, nothing can break it apart or tear it apart
Yes.
right.
because
In due
we know
season.
the
There's a
destiny.
season and a time for everything in due
Yeah,
season.
yeah, it was definitely destiny that brought
Yes,
them
it was
together.
destiny.
God
Yeah,
did it, and He already had it predestined.
right.
Yes.
We
You
just
just
had
Oh
to
yeah.
had
wait for the manifestation of it to come to
Right.
pass.
that's it, and
Right.
you're here, and you're able to talk about it, and give other people advice, and let
Mhm,
Mhm.
people know there is hope out there for you if you
Mm.
stay doing what God has called you to do and walking in His will. He
mhm,
will align things together and put things together for you to meet the right person that He has in His will
That's
for
right.
mhm.
you.
That's
Just
right.
wait and be patient.
Yep.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
Can you tell me where to follow you all? Like, and if y'all want to say any last things before we come to an end of the interview? I'll start with you, Miss Glenda.
Okay. I have a website called The Pen of a Writer, thepenofawriter.com. And on there you'll see my story, you'll see the books that I've published. Um, one of that's how you can reach me. And then of course, the books that are there, you can purchase them online um, or through Amazon. And just thepenofawriter.com. I'm working, I have a nonprofit that's called Hope and Aspirations. So we're working on getting that together. And when I do, we'll be looking at promoting students in Dade and Broward County and perhaps Palm Beach County as well under the 4 pillars of excellence, which are mentorship, entrepreneurship, internship, as well as leadership. So finding those individuals who have an affinity towards excelling in those areas and perhaps getting individuals who can buy into the vision and help sponsor um, the nonprofit with promoting these students. So,
That's awesome. I'm
mhm,
excited to
thank
see
you,
that. Yes, I'm
thank you.
definitely excited about that.
Mhm.
Okay, Mr. Kevin, what about you?
Well, listen, I thank you for the opportunity that you have afforded us to share, some tidbits about us. I hope that it has inspired some of the listeners to maybe look at their partnerships again and maybe realign some things, redirect some things, or embrace the good things that they kind of deducted from this particular call to say that, wait a minute, that sounds like us. Or, you know what? This now will lead us into what we call clarifying discussions. Where we can just clarify our relationship and continue to honor it and build on it. When you get in touch with Glenda, you got in touch with me. Glenda is the social media lady. I'm just the husband and and the singer and the musician. So
You can pull him up on YouTube, Kevin Rutledge.
Okay, okay,
He's
we're gonna have
there.
to do that. Pull him up on YouTube, go to
Yeah,
her website and her social media pages and follow
yeah,
her.
yeah, that's good.
yeah.
And
We're on.
I haven't even pulled myself up in.
He's not on any social media stuff, but you can, YouTube, you can find him there singing some songs and things like that.
okay,
I have Facebook and I do have Instagram and LinkedIn. And I don't have TikTok though, but those two.
okay. Well, you got to get you a TikTok now. Some of your students to come together. You know, the kids love TikTok. They love TikTok.
Mhm.
We do. Well, it's just such a blessing to have you both on my show
Oh,
to talk
yes.
about marriage
Thank
and
you.
ministry.
Thanks
And
for having us.
yeah,
Thank you.
I always love to hear stories about how people meet, how they came together, and then they're doing ministry together. And, the fact that marriage is a ministry, and
Yes.
that you all can show where you've come from and use your experiences to help other people. So I'm just grateful and honored to have you both.
We thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. And to
So,
your listening audience as well.
Yeah.
no
And
problem.
another thing, Glenda, like I said, is retiring after the school term. And I've heard some of our directors at our job sites say, well, maybe you can come back and work part-time. Well, Glenda has other visions of other projects. And what I feel good about is that my wife can retire and really enjoy the life and pursue the other projects as she wishes, because she has a husband. She has a husband that goes to work, that will make sure that everything is taken care of. And she'll make sure breakfast is there when I leave and have dinner ready when I get home. But I just love the fact that I can kind of indulge with my wife that whole idea of retirement. Babe, take your rest from this career and then transition into your post Miami-Dade County Public Schools career. Know that I got this, but in time I'll join you, and that's really important for her to not have to worry about, oh my gosh, how am I going to make? You're going to make it.
Mhm.
You have a husband, and also, Tiffany, we have to make sure that couples realize, make sure you have all of your legacy and estate paperwork
In order.
intact, because
Mhm.
Yes.
that's the first thing that we did. I said, let me tell you, I've played for enough weddings where within a week, one of the parties passed away, and they passed away before they could transfer things into the path of the partner. No, you're my wife, I'm your husband. I want you to know that whether I'm here or not, the money that has been put aside, it's still yours. You make sure you do whatever you need to do to continue to be true to yourself and live your fullest life if I go first, and vice versa. But that's a man taking care of business. Where she would probably do the fluffy stuff, I'm about the business.
That's a
I'm
good
about the business.
Mhm.
thing.
And
And
that's where a lot of couples fail, that they don't get things in order.
yep,
No, you
No,
have to, and a lot of, to be specific, a lot of Black
no, you're
couples,
right. You're right.
they don't want to talk about death. They don't want to talk about insurance. I'm leaving this. You're going to use it for somebody else. This is no, 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 no. We have our stuff in order, and that is a priority.
and yes, babe. And when you do it like that, Tiffany, and audience, it keeps people out of your business.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it does.
Now, and I told my wife, I said, if I should precede you, I want you to holler. Fall out, get the smelling salt. And you can holler at the service. But when you get in that limousine leaving that church or that cemetery, you be like, what?
Yeah, and it's true. I was
My
just
husband,
yeah.
I'm set.
Got everything. And I was just talking to my mom about that because my father passed away and my grandmother,
Oh,
her mom
well,
passed. We had to do two funerals last year. I
oh
had
my gosh.
my
Well, you
mom's
have our
mom
sympathy.
and my dad. So
Yes,
my mom ended up having, a stroke situation that happened. So I had to
yes.
do my dad's whole funeral. I had to do
Mhm.
and so I had to put everything together. I had to get on the phones with everybody, getting
Yes.
everything together.
Been
And
there,
I
done
know
it.
that can be very hard because my dad, he was in the hospital for a year and he couldn't talk. He couldn't do
That's right.
anything. So I
That's
had
right.
to go look and even though I knew some stuff, I knew a
Yes.
lot of his information for some stuff
Right.
that I needed to
Right.
get because he
Yes.
always shared, with me and my mom. But some things I still kind of had to figure out. So I tell people all the time, early on, if you can get your own, I told myself I'm gonna do my own obituary. I'm gonna have my whole funeral planned out. I'm gonna have
Mhm.
everything done, a will, everything's gonna be done because I don't want my kids to have to go through
That's right.
trying to figure this out, or my husband,
That's
or
right.
or
Right.
vice versa if he, whoever,
Right.
so
Yes,
you
right.
want to have those things in place
Because it's
because
hard enough when
it's so hard.
those particular events occur in our lives.
Yeah.
But it's even easier when you know that, wait, she told me what she wanted. He
Yeah.
told me, or before they became, in some cases, like my sister, incapacitated,
Yeah.
I knew you go here to find this. You call this person, so on, so on, so, and but you do that while you're healthy and
Yeah.
robust, and then you put it away. As long as you know where to go. My wife and I don't talk about that every day, but we needed to have that conversation,
Yeah.
and she needs to know what to do. You are not that broke. Yeah, you're gonna miss me. I'm gonna miss you, but you don't miss me enough to lose your focus on handling your business. Because that's when Quantisha and those want to come over. Well, baby, you want me to go to the bank with you? No, I don't need you to go to the bank with me
Right.
because you all up in my Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he left her so and so. You know, we know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's important for couples.
Yeah, very important. And then if you got kids, thank God I'm my parents' only child. So,
Right.
I already knew how because and I was the only child that they shared everything with because I'm the only
Correct.
child.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I was blessed in that area, but a lot of people don't have that like I
Yes.
did. So I'm like, look, I stress this to everybody. Like, if you can have all these things set out early, please do it because you never know what could happen.
Right.
And that's something, like you said, that is something you're supposed to talk about with the person, even before you get married to them. Talk about
Correct.
certain things. That way, when you do get married, y'all already have it set and
And to
ready.
me, that's the ultimate expression of love and respect. The
Yes.
ultimate,
Yeah.
that I am taking care of what we all are normally say when the marriage sunsets, like a grant, when a grant sunsets. Well, when our lives sunset, you know what to do, everything is in place, but whoever survives the other can go on
Yeah.
and continue to live the level of lifestyle
Mhm.
that you had before or greater, and
Mhm.
or being able to sustain. So when you fall in love, you honor each other in your daily activities, but you also honor the sunsetting side when somebody leaves. And I think that's the ultimate reward of a marriage.
Yeah. It is. And that's really great advice, and I know the listeners will be able to take that advice and do something positive with it. So I'm just grateful that you all are on here to talk about that because these things need to be talked about.
Yes.
These discussions need to be taking place in a
Mhm.
marriage and before marriage and have those questions for your soon to
Yes.
be spouse or if you're dating somebody. So that's really good advice. Anything else that you would like to say, Miss Glenda?
No, that's it. I'm just so happy and so honored that, my husband is here and that you've given us this opportunity to share our, story with your listening audience. And hopefully, someone will contact you and say, you know what, that was a great interview. They gave us
Resonated. Yeah, it resonated.
resonated, something resonates, and they can take some of the nuggets and things that we've actually expressed this evening and be able to like perhaps align them to their lives. So.
And these type of interviews I truly enjoy because it's something that people can really take with them for a lifetime. Like you said, different nuggets, different wisdom, and they can eat off of it throughout their
Yes.
life.
Yes. Mm.
And they're not just getting snacks where they just get a little full, but this is something you can literally eat off of. And
Mhm.
I'm just grateful for the opportunity of having you all on here because
Thank
even for me, listening and taking the advice is just good for me. And I'm like,
you. Very
wow,
good. Very good.
I literally love sitting down talking to people
Yes.
and especially people that are older that has more wisdom that I can gain more wisdom from to get that advice and that could possibly change my life. So
Very
it's
good.
just an honor and a blessing. So,
Mhm.
as I always like to leave my show, I always like to say this: never despise small beginnings because you never know where those small beginnings may take you. More than likely, if you put God first, those small beginnings will lead somewhere big. Just keep
Mhm.
putting God first, trust Him, love who He created you to be, and please learn how to love somebody outside of yourself. Thank you all again for watching the Tiffany Wade Show. And again, I'm your host, Dr. Tiffany Wade. And I'm just so grateful that I had the honor and it's just such an honor and a blessing to have Miss Glenda and and Mr. Kevin Rutlege on the Tiffany Wade Show to talk about marriage and ministry. Thank you all again for watching, and be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.